Hey, welcome back. This is kind of like an interim thing before I hit up Prime 2. This is just set to go up if I don't have time tomorrow to start in on Prime 2. I did get the recording software to work fairly well. The only downside is that every now and then there's a slight drop in frames, and there's the answer to that is just a it's I don't know the right way to explain it. It's basically a disagreement between the programs. Like my monitor, the first monitor here is it's running in 165 frames per second. The recording software here is recording in 60 frames per second. The game program is, however, running in 60 frames per second. But somewhere in that process, there's some chugging. And I think it causes like a bump in CPU usage, and that causes the recording to screw up a little bit. Either way, the downside is, as far as I can tell, negligible. Like I can just manage it. Or not, I can just manage it. I think that watching it back wasn't a too frustrating experience. And so I'm willing to go forward with I'm willing to go forward with playing Prime 2 this way and recording it this way. So I hope that I'm right and that this works out just fine. Anyways, I'm gonna do a little bit of Prime 1, and again I'm just doing this at night, so I have something potentially to go up to take the space if I don't get time to do a full hour of Prime 2 tomorrow and edit it and upload it and throw a thumbnail together. And I've got my glasses in. It's very late. I got a sunburn. That red on my face is not just the program, it's the sunburn from my idiot self not realizing that I was not in the full shade of a tree, and I received one of the worst sunburns on my head in a while. So I'll be wearing a hat for a while. I put it a little too far away to like pick it up and show, but I'll be wearing a hat out in my daily life for a while. But I am going to include that little bit of footage there. That right there is exactly what I was talking about on the remaster, where you don't need Spring Ball, but you don't have Spring Ball in the OG. So, yeah. I think I'm going to use, well, if necessary, I'll just use this. I don't need to repeat myself like 6 times, right? I don't need to constantly go over what I'm going to do. This is an interim episode on the off chance that I don't get something for Prime 2 tomorrow. So let's get into it. This is Prime 1 Classic. This is post the opening section. And you'll notice that my aim is a bit perhaps better and snappier. That's because the apparatus I'm using is mouse and keyboard. Because it is the most precise method aiming. Fortunately, this may be because of the way that I think and act and, do things. It may be that it's harder to, decipher and causes more lag jumps. I don't know. Either way, it's not really something to spend a whole bunch of time on. But, of course, things to prove that I'm not lying about the charge shot thing. Here's just firing once and holding the button. I don't have charge beam. I'm an idiot. But actually, here's just holding the button. It doesn't fire multiple times, but I suppose it doesn't matter because I don't think it would have. I had to go get charge beam before I can make the point I wanted to. However, what I can do is I can bring up the door colors. If you'll notice, the door is pale because the energy is on it. But when the energy is gone, the door is not painted white. It's not extra bright. The door kind of fits in with the background. It looks like it's an old metal door, or perhaps a new metal door put in by space pirates. It fits better thematically and cinematically, I suppose could be it. But it fits better thematically with the world because it doesn't look like it's trying to tell you, "Hey, player, this is where you go." you know. On top of that, the lighting in the areas is also prettier and more interesting to me. I grew up with this stuff, and I'm going to be the old man in the room and say, I grew up with it, and that makes it better. You can also do... I'm going to burn some missiles on this, because I did go in and get 2 missile upgrades. But there's one thing you can do in this version of it, you can't do it in any other version. This is the 1.0. You can hold the C up command, which is different because again I'm using mouse and keyboard. And I hope the clacking on my keyboard isn't too loud. I don't know if it's gonna be too loud. I'm gonna use this video to tell. I'm gonna try and be quiet about it. But I don't know if it's gonna be like really loud. If it is really loud, I might go back to to controller, or I might just have to find some. I might have to buy a new keyboard, like a new basic level keyboard, to get less clacking. I don't know. There's a whole lot I have to figure out, and I don't really have a whole ton of time to do it because it's a very tight week for me. Until my days off, it's a very tight week for me. All right. Now. Yeah, also I can move the map faster. So I haven't gone over in that area, I haven't done that. This was... I got Morph Ball in Nursery. I haven't done that. There's a save station there, right. Okay, so let's go down past the Hive Totem to Transport Access North. I think? Am I right? Yeah, because the only other place I can go is... Talon Overworld, and I can't do anything. There's nothing that will benefit me in Talon Overworld, so let's do this. We'll pass through here. Okay, the lighting in these areas is just much brighter, and like, again, the door is not painted white. It's not overtly trying to like get your attention, and I know I stopped bringing it up very shortly into the play, but my first time through Prime Remastered, it was awful, and absolutely just a... oh, wrong room. It was just an absolutely frustrating experience because I knew that it wasn't like that. It's one of those things where like, I think there's a Fleekazoid video that brings... I think the Fleekazoid video on Marathon is like why you bring up a dead IP, you know, just to ruin it. You've successfully pissed off 3 people, and as someone who actually did play like, you know, classic Marathon, that was probably the funniest moment of the day, because I had just that moment where I'm like, wow, why you have to call me out like that? Oh, it was good though. It was good. It was a good video too. Yeah. See, that's what I was talking about when I had to like fire it without having the ability to tell where the center of the screen is, because when you aim this on like the OG controller, you'll press L, and I can press L, but L is, you know, L is shift, and shift locks on, but I don't have the secondary function of L on that same button. And so it doesn't do that same thing. But yeah, so I can't see the dead center of the screen. I have to guess. 100% I have to guess where the center of the screen is. And so it's just memory and, you know, muscle, like it's muscle memory and of course generalized skill that gets me that. Not saying I'm great, I'm just saying it's from years of playing PC games. But yeah, this is of course the light bug room. Shows how the darkness, even when it's completely blacked out, and that is not that dark, but then they've got certain things that show light, you know. But it was still a method, and here come the light bugs again, because they're immortal. They're infinite. If there's one thing that's infinite, it's these light bugs. one thing that's infinite in the universe, it's these light bugs. So, I actually had some issues trying to run up the floor because on a previous version of the program I'm using, there was a bug where every time you'd fire a missile, it would just crash the game. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Oh, I forgot to turn off the stuff. This, by the way, is the hint mode. And the fun thing is it will tell you save station detected or whatever detected. It'll tell you where to go in the game. And when you open the map, it'll show you where on the map it is, but if you don't have the map, and I didn't get the map, I think I didn't get the map, it's like, where's that at? It's got that question mark, right? And it's all blurred out because it's all OG graphics, right? This was meant to be played on a CRT TV or something with scan lines, you know. It basically masked how jagged a lot of the edges were, and so this, if you look closely, I'll try and get a contrasting lighting for the gun. It's difficult. Okay, there. If you look closely, you can see like the polygonal. Thank you, Samus. You can see the polygonal edges of the gun, and it on a CRT it would cover that up. There's obviously enough. Like I'm not, if you're a millennial or early zoomer, you wouldn't need to have that explained. But there are people out there that haven't grown up with the technology I grew up with. The technology that the millennials grew up with. There wasn't a lot of that. I will actually have to manually save in order to like stop a bit if I do this, or when I do this and Metroid Prime 2, because there's no, I mean there's save stating, but I'm not going to save state. Because you can, also that, by the way, is what I'm talking about when I talk about in Prime. I might just throw this thing up anyways, like regardless, because there's a lot of things here, like, that are worth bringing up, just in early game, right? Because when I popped these in Remastered, I couldn't really, like, I, myself, couldn't really tell that the cloud was gone. But when you pop these in the OG, there's a cloud, and the more that you pop, the faster you pop them, the more the cloud is there, the thicker it is, and the longer it looks like it's there. Now the cloud actually lasts longer than the damage, but you know that it's a dangerous area and you're more likely to avoid it after blowing something up if something like that is represented there. In the OG, the graphics are so... In the remaster, the graphics are so uppity that when that happens, you don't notice that it's there. You don't see that it's there. You don't think for any... You don't worry for any particular length of time because it immediately looks like it's fine when it's not. And it's just so frustrating. Visually, but also because, like, like functionally. It disguises an area that the player would benefit from knowing more about. Right. There we go, Runic Sim will activate it. Also, another thing is I can just kind of blaze through this because we've been through Prime Remastered, so most of everything has already been covered. The only thing that's not been covered is scan logs, and I need to read some of these Chozo entries, and I'll do it before I end. I'll go back and I'll read Chozo entries in the Chozo Temple and talk about the Chozo, transcendence that they took out of the game. And make the whole of Prime Remastered a little confusing if you know what you're looking for. But let's start on that, right? New Chozo lore has been downloaded. We've returned to Talon 4, born here against our will by a great cataclysm from the reaches of space, implying they weren't there, for a long time. A meteor came, casting a dark shadow of debris over the land with the violence of its impact. Though we perceive this from beyond space and time, again, their ascendants, it was but a curiosity, a brief flare in the infinite march of the universe. But the meteor brought with it corruption. A great poison burst forth into the land, clawing at life with such violence that we were ripped from our peaceful state and find ourselves wandering as shadows of the mortal forms we left behind. This is kind of the perfect one for me to have read first, because this is exactly it. This is the one that confirms that the Chozo that made it to this planet left their physical forms behind. They stopped being searching for why we're here. They left their physical forms behind. They transcended, like life in the universe, and went off to do whatever they wanted. They were this, infinite species because they no longer had any physical wants or needs. But the instant that the Phazon meteorite hit, it forced them back and ruined their afterlife, ruined their continuous life. Also, as I've demonstrated while talking about this, one button press, one singular button press, one click of the mouse, one firing of the gun, immediate charge. Nothing wrong with that. Don't know why the developers thought I had to do. I don't know why they added in that. I'm just emulating it, right? But in the OG and in the 1.1, you hit one button, it fires one bullet, and then you charge. I don't know why the developers thought, hey, we need to handicap the player and make it worse for them, but they did. And I will forever never understand. Well, I will never understand it because I think handicapping the player instead of tuning the experience around the player's great and increased capacity. I think handicapping the player is a bad thing, and I think fine-tuning it around the player's increased capacity is a far wiser and better thing to do. Right? Like, I just 100% I think that they were wrong to have done that, and that by handicapping the player and taking that away, that they've just screwed so many people. And this persists in Prime 4, right? Because I would be inclined to believe that Retro were the ones that worked on, I don't know for sure, and I haven't looked it up. I'd be inclined to believe, though I am likely wrong, that Retro were the ones that worked on the Prime Remaster, and so they thought, well, we need to slow down the player's, martial capacity in-game. And so we're introducing this, and then they introduced it in Prime 4 as well, by not only having the player not being able to fire as much, like, you can fire that fast. That's incredibly fast, right? In Prime 4, your average firing speed for, like, the early game, and I think it persists into late game, but I'd have to go into Prime 4 again and start a new game, and alongside it use my old file, to see if the change ever happened, or if I just got so used to it that it was acceptable enough at the time. But they make you fire like that slow. Going from to is insane. That's a horrible destruction of the player's general capacity. Like a horrible restriction on the player. And you might be like, it's not that serious, but it is that serious. It is fundamental to the experience. They just took everything and then said, oh, it's not that bad. Well, it is that bad. It's always that bad. Any loss of freedom is an important thing to, pay attention to. So, like, an important thing to pay attention to, important thing to reject, important thing to, call them out for. Restricting the player's movement and capacity like that it's egregious and it's unacceptable. Like, I think anybody who would just be like, oh, it's not that bad, you need to relax. It's like, no, I don't need to relax. This isn't a Souls game. This is early, sorry, not early. This is Metroid. This is Nintendo. These are video games meant to entertain the audience. Like, they're not meant to overtly challenge you. They're meant to be entertaining to, kids and adults. They're meant to be like a family bringing together experience. So you can have fun things like high fire rates. You don't have to have an obsession with, like, handicapping the player for the sake of difficulty. Now, that can also be a thing that brings, like, the family together. Depending on your family, I mean, you do you, I wouldn't judge. As long as it's all above board and, moral. But, getting into the weeds there. What I'm saying is, taking away the ability to fire that fast at will, but also charge this fast at will, is callous and single-minded, is thoughtless and frustrating. There's no reason to handicap the player like that. There's no benefit to handicapping the player like that. There's nothing, no one benefits from this, except, I don't know, except the developer's peace of mind because they didn't have a player, like, beat their boss in what they believed to be too fast. It's like if a player comes into a room and instantly aces your boss, like, if a Super Metroid speedrunner walks into Kraid and fires 2 missiles, then follows that up with 3 super missiles by firing 1 as they go into the air, 1 at about halfway up, and then 1 as they're falling back down, and that instantly ends the Kraid boss fight without them having to go through Kraid Phase 2. Just the only thing that's, like, needs to be said about that is, dude, that was incredible. Awesome. Right? If you want to, like, cancel that out, I think fundamentally you're at fault, but there are better ways to do it than slowing down the player's capacity. You know, introduce invincibility phases or something like that, but don't strip the player of capacity for a desire to for a desire to force the player to play the game your way, for a desire to force the player to play the game the way you want it to, right? It's just, it's unacceptable. It's inexcusable. It's egregious. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's, I mean, I would consider it wrong, but it's not, you know, necessarily amoral. It's childish. It's childish, and I would consider it foolish. Oh, right. So, I think Morph Ball... How would I do Spring Ball? It's X, right? What is the X button? No, what would be the Y button? Was it that? Yeah, it was Y, it wasn't jump. I'm trying to think, because there's no Spring Ball in this. I have the bomb jump. I'm trying to think of what I would press were I to try it out. There we go, pop that. Energy. I keep forgetting to turn off hints, man. Right here, let's look at the energy spike. Neat. Do that. I think this is pause. Then I need to hit L. Shoot, what's L? What's L? Okay. Display, no. Visor, hint system, turn that off. There we go. Okay. I don't like the hint system. I think it's good for a new player, but as someone who is, as I have displayed by playing Prime Remastered, as someone who's not a new player, I think it, for anyone but new players, it gets in the way. So the option for them to turn it off, which is an old world idea, right? Because it exists in Prime. It exists in this game, and yet it doesn't exist in Prime 4. You can't turn off the hint system because Mackenzie's just so charming and sweet, or some BS. Do I go in this way? Yes. The inability to get rid of... I hope I went in the right place. I didn't. Okay. This is bad. I messed up big time. You're gonna have to go back to the first one. I forgot the puzzle. Yes, I did. Alright, let's do it again. Anyways, you can't turn off the hint system because Mackenzie is their favorite... Wait a minute, what? Oh, that one stays down. But this one doesn't stay down? Interesting. Oh, I was supposed to go over the platforms. I forgot the puzzle was talking so much, and I forgot that I did that Ego Raptor thing where you just kind of forget how to play the game because you're so wrapped up in a train of thought. I think that's a thing he does. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I watched the Grumps. Absolute professionals, those guys. Hope to someday be as good as them. Hope to someday be as successful as them in some part of my life somewhere, right? It doesn't have to be this, but I sure would love it to be, you know, somewhere there. Now what was I on about? Oh yeah, it's good. It's an old world idea to turn off the hint system and say, hey, I don't need help. Don't stop helping me. I'm interested in figuring this out for my own, because they don't allow you that in the new games. In the new game, they force you to deal with the hint system the entire game, and there's nothing you can do to escape it, and it just sucks. That's it. There we go. Let's get this. Tank acquired. Nice. Alright. Let's get out of the room. Because there's no spring ball, it all is going to go a bit slower, which is fine, and that's how it's supposed to go. Right? That's how things are supposed to be. That's how good things happen in the world. You understand the necessary uncomfortability, and you chill. You chill out and relax. You measure this thing in the grand scheme of things, and you decide, is it worth flipping the pool over? And if the answer's no, then the answer's no, and you go on. Dang it, I thought I hit it. Oh well. Getting off track there, big time. But I don't know where the track started, so I don't know if I can get back on track. Okay, don't need to go there, I need to go back to the right. Yes. I can't do anything in Furnace, so we gotta go back. We have Morph Ball, we have Morph Ball Bombs. We can go through Ruined Nursery, get past the Hive Totem, get to Transport Access North. And then we can do... Yes, we can fight Flagra. And we get all the fun of not hearing Flagra's full theme, because this game, this version, and every version until Prime Remastered, had a bug that stopped Flagra's theme from properly playing. And so you'd only ever hear part of Flagra's theme, the very opening part of Flagra's theme. I'm gonna do this, because this might also be forward. As you might expect, I get a little rusty on details, even if I've been through the game a dozen times. You still kind of draw a blank, because you're not... Because, if you're normal about your gaming, which just means average, not implying that speedrunners are weird. You don't spend 1,000 hours on one video game, But if you're living the standard experience, you don't, you don't spend 1,000 hours on a game. And so you blank on certain things. You blank on where the next step is, and then you flub for a while. It's normal. That's what's happening to me right now. So I don't know where that last thing is. I feel dumb, because I scanned that from below, but I need to find another one. Crud! Alright. Is it in there? No, is it in there? Yes. I don't have space jump. One time oh my god. Get that off. Whew. I think that's it? No. Wait, did I scan all four? There was... No. That's scanned. Where's 2? Hold on, let me go up top. Is 1, 2, 3. Let me go back up top and see if oh. Going back down to the bottom, I felt it was more important to just start fresh. In other news, and things that are, as far from true as possible, I found the second symbol. or other things that, because I did actually find the second symbol, and other things that aren't as far from the truth as possible. Okay, now let's go back up. Now, when I'm not running a stream of consciousness, constant blabbering every second, I do actually kind of shut up and get really into the game. And I don't know if that's entertaining or not, and to be honest, I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time on that. I hope someday I'm an incredible entertainer. Until then, I'm just going to have fun, man. And if my fun is me quietly playing a game for 7-10 hours, then I'm sorry to anybody who thinks that I'm boring. Maybe I should do these when I'm like after work, man. I feel like I'm so much more like in tune with who I want to be late at night, and like my brain is like far more active because I just don't go to sleep at a reasonable hour. Even when I have obligations in the morning, like this actually is something I shouldn't be doing, but doing just under options. So this part of the song here, we're not going to hear any more of the song, because this part of the song for this version is the whole part. It's the whole song, the whole game. 100%. On the one hand, I really like it, because for me it feels alien, right? The whole rest of the song is nice, but I don't know. For me, it just kind of hits that old, it kind of hits an old boss theme itch, like, strongly. Alright, but come on. You douche. I should have enough time, if I time my jumps right, to fire that. There we go. Perfect. Give me the leg. Beautiful. I gotta remember to like... Ow! Ah! Jesus! Ah. Oh my god! Oh my god! Ah! Ah! Don't shave your head and get sunburn on it. Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm gonna do it again, buddy. No. Maybe I have time still. Yes! I didn't know if I had time there. I was I was worried because like I was trying to boost around, but he has like a taunt frame. He has a taunt that lasts a bit, and that gave me just enough time to hit it. Because had I waited any longer, had screwed up any bit, he'd have hit it down, and I'd had to go all the way over there and hit it again, or stun him and hope that he didn't hit it in time. You know? That's actually why I was so pumped the first time I did this, because I was like, am I not the best you've ever seen? Right, the whole reason was because like, I didn't think I'd be able to do it in time. Oh, come on, let me past him. Fine. Oop. I won't be able to do it this time. I didn't tell you that. Don't do it, babe. Don't do it. We can be friends. We can be friends. Alright, we're friends. Woo! Alright, let's boost ball over there. Or, I can't. Let's morph ball over there. I forgot. You don't get boost ball for a while. Having just finished Prime Remastered, I'm forgetting that I don't have late game abilities like Boost Ball, or mid game abilities, sorry, like Boost Ball, where you go first into Fendrana and then get it. You know, after having read it so many times on stream, I've actually fixed my mispronunciation of Fenandra to Fendrana. It's actually been constructive for me. That's really good. That's really good. And I've also kind of cleaned up my kind of cleaned up my vocabulary, which again is really good. Really happy with that. Subtle benefits to, you know, like doing a Let's Play channel and trying to keep it clean. It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. Do something positive for yourself and, you know, more positive things come about from it. Which, of course, means that now I have to make sure that I spend at least, you know, 20 minutes drawing every day so I can someday be really good at drawing. Finally get over that hurdle, you know, where I was kind of okay at drawing in 4th grade and I just never followed my passion. But hey, better late than never. Now, this room, I remember this room was way darker, right? But most importantly, here's the water section. I can still see more in this, even on the recording. I can still see more in this than I ever could in the remaster. Because the lighting is so bad. And you might be like, well, it's realistic. I must once again direct you to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's realistic. It makes the game less fun. It makes the game less fun. It makes the game, in my view, uglier. Though I'm sure that many people have been like, no, the game is fine and pretty and good this way, whatever. But genuinely, I think that the art that they performed when they made Metroid Prime 1 in the OG is far superior to the attempted recreation. Look at how angry she is. Look at how angry she is on that elevator. In the OG, Samus is pissed every frame. I wasn't kidding. Like, in the remaster, they made her just kind of, like, noticing it generally. And there's kind of this disconnect, because, if I remember correctly, Mercury Steam are the guys working with Yoshio Sakamoto to make mainline Metroid games. And they get who Samus is, because when they proposed a project for Yoshio Sakamoto, they were like, let's redo Super Metroid. And he was like, we're not redoing Super Metroid. And honestly, I respect that, because Super Metroid's kind of... in terms of Metroid, it's kind of the holy grail of games. It's not my personal favorite, but in terms of, like, it's one of those games that has so much mysticism and so much, like, aura around it that to remake it is... it's an incredible ask, right? And I don't think that most development teams understand the level of I don't think most development teams are able to understand just how hard that task would be and how much of a reprisal you're going to get. Remastering something like Metroid 2, Return of Samus, is a way easier task, and honestly is kind of what's the word? It's kind of like a softball. It's kind of like an easy win, because very few people who didn't have I wouldn't say very few people. I would say that the majority of Metroid fans started probably playing in Metroid Prime, unless they started playing at Super Metroid. I would say most Metroid fans probably started playing at Super Metroid, and then a greater majority of fans started playing on Metroid Prime. And that was, the fandom was kept together through things like Zero Mission and Fusion. Fusion and Prime came out roughly the same time, and Fusion was received poorly, and Prime was received incredibly positively. Well, anyways. Okay, can I do this? Oh, that's too bad. Okay, hold on. I think I messed up. Hold on. Is there an invisible wall in the OG? Yes, I do believe there is. Well, I can't call that on the remaster. Looks like that was an OG way to stop you from, you know, flexing your skills and getting over that without playing through the snails. It's funny. It's funny now. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that camera effect, man. It is obfuscating and frustrating. Genuinely. However, back then it was all the rage. Really cool stuff. I also did, you can probably see it now. Probably see it when I started. There was that rain effect that I was like, I don't know if that's in the remaster, if it's in the OG. But yeah, it's in the OG. And I didn't remember if it was there, because again, it was in like Vice City and a whole bunch of games around that same time, and so yeah. No, don't do it. Don't do it. That's right. There's more than one ball in these halls. It's not a fantastic sentence. What is this? It is a missile pack. I remember. Okay, let's get that. Okay, got about 15 minutes left. I started this roughly 4 minutes into the time frame that I set for myself. Like how I keep it vague. A yuck, a yuck, a yuck. Okay. You fool. This is actually what I wanted. This has helped me only positively. Okay, enough goofing. That's also a nice little effect, because like I didn't step into that gas vent while I was, also kind of annoying, if you think about it. I didn't step into that gas vent when I was outside of Morph Ball, but because I was on it in Morph Ball, the effect applied during my stand-up. And lasted throughout for a few seconds after I stepped back. Yeah, I hope the frame slowdowns aren't too frustrating. Again, I don't think it's too painful of an experience, but I'll make note of this when I start Prime 2, because again, this video is not guaranteed to go up. But I will... does this one go through the lava pool? If this video goes up, I won't mention it in Prime 2, because theoretically I could just do it in the morning, and then do a video that same night, and like upload it in the morning, do that next video that same night. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, okay, we're safe. I could upload this in like the morning, and then upload, or like do and then upload another one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust my controls so that C-up is easier to do, just for the sake of being able to fire missiles faster. And also, I think it kind of does an annoying thing in Prime 2, where you need to change beams a lot more often, because there's a lot more fun, you know, beam requirement doors. Yeah, this one will be a fun one to show. Because this puzzle I like blazed through because I had Spring Ball, but I don't have Spring Ball, so now I have to do it slower, and it requires a lot more effort, and it's, oh my god. There's a puzzle that's going to cause a lot of clack, and it's this one. Oh, not done yet. Not done yet. This, by the way, is one of those puzzles that you really should have the joystick for. Yeah. I don't have a joystick for this. I mean, I do. I have a full-on GameCube controller, but oh, that was a dumb move. But I have a full-on GameCube controller, but I'm not playing this in classic method. So, goes through here. Pop that open, go through the door. Again, these doors, look at that. Look at how that door fits into the background, into the scenery, you know? Ignoring the weird cloud effects. But the door actually fits into the scenery. It looks like it's supposed to be that way. It looks like that's the door, you know? Like, it looks like it makes sense. And that's the big room I can't do anything with, so I'll just ignore it and not go in there. But yeah, just like... That's, there's no reason for the doors to be painted white. They already glow a bright blue in all 3 games. They already glow a communicative, bright blue. You don't have to handicap the player even further by painting the door white. And you might be like, well, now, hold hold up, you know, like, quote the video. I can't remember. It's like, hold up. Her sister was a witch, bro, you know. Hold up. The door is, you know, the door's kind of pale on its own, bro. You know, you gotta yield a little bit there. And it's like, I mean, I can. I'm not going to, but I can, right? Like, it's not that the door doesn't... I need to find a door that, like, doesn't open immediately. It's not that the door doesn't, like, look bright at the inside panels instead of the outside panels. Or sorry, the inside of the panels there. But it's that, again, it fits. Like, it looks like it is part of the... It looks like it's part of the scenery. That's not overtly bright. That's not excessively bright. That's not painted white. That doesn't look in a way that doesn't make sense. Also, climbing up this without the... Because the good part about this setup, in spite of the frame drops that I have to endure, is that on my main screen, I can see the game as it is actually presented, and on my recording screen, this is a smidge darker, but even in that smidge darker, it's still incredibly communicative. I have no idea why in the HD remaster it's so dark, but it is painfully dark. It's incredibly dark. Like, you can barely tell that these are water pools. Right? It's too dark. And they're like, realism, baby, you're covered in trees. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It looks ugly. It looks ugly. I don't care how realistic something is. I would prefer that it looks good rather than ugly. You'd be like, why are you classifying this? You could be pedantic and like childish and say, now why are you classifying something, classing the visuals of the world as pretty and ugly? And I would just tell you to shut up because you're a child. But the harsh reality is, it's like, no, people like looking at pretty things. Everyone likes looking at pretty things. Things should be pretty in video games. That's it. And if it's like a hyper-realistic game, like, I'm not gonna yell about Call of Duty, right? No one's gonna yell about Call of Duty. I'm not, like, being realistic, right? That's a game where if you yell about it being realistic, everyone should just be like, no, you're kind of an idiot. You're kind of an idiot. Like, if there's one game that should never not be as hyper-realistic as it can be, it's Call of Duty, right? Battlefield. You know what I might need to, like, to trim it down to? There is a time and a place for realism. And do you know where it's not? Metroid. It does not belong there. That's why the over-explanations in Prime 4 just make everything sound really dumb, and slapping Psychic in front of every ability Samus gets is painfully dumb and childish. None of her special abilities in any game except Prime 4 are labeled with, like, I had to, like, pause for a moment to consider, it's like, does this happen in Prime 2? Am I being a massive hypocrite? And I don't believe that I am, because the light beam is a beam that shoots light energy, shoots concentrated light energy. The dark beam is a beam that shoots concentrated darkness energy, and the annihilator beam is a beam that fuses the two energy sources into a disintegration beam that's, you know, really cool looking and really fun to use. I don't think there's anything in Prime 2 that does that. I don't think there's anything in any Metroid game, even Other M, that just slaps on a word to be like, hey, check it out, it's so cool, guys, it's our special thing. No, there's none of that. But, let's get back to reading, because we're on a thing I skipped earlier. Okay. At the highest point of our city lies the fountain, a wellspring of pure water that flows throughout our civilization. It is the jewel of the Chozo, the life giver, and yet its waters speak of a clouded future. As we come to understand the paths of time and space more clearly, we have begun to glimpse rough tatters of past and future, glittering behind reality like soft lights behind a curtain. We have seen the fountain in these glimpses, pouring darkness instead of water, and we cannot guess what the visions mean. It can be assumed, or perhaps guessed, that the fountain gets hit by the meteor. I think I go topside. Do I go topside? So if I go left, this doesn't lead back the way I wanted to. That leads to the heat room, and I can't do that. This... Oh, I should have got to the map room. I don't know why I'm in this area, because I can't go through Watery Hall, can I? Hold on. Gathering Hall. I'll go in there. Yes, I can. I can absolutely go through Watery Hall. And I will. I don't think that going through Watery Hall gets me going forward. I think I have to go to Magmore. And I don't want to waste time. I'm going to try going through Magmore first. I know I spent all that time getting out of Magmore and going here. No, I'm missing something. Hello. Screw it, we'll go through Watery Hall. And then we'll head back to Magmore. You know what, I'll check the Magmore map really quick. Hold on. Okay, this is Chozo Ruins North, Go Down, Burning Trail, Lake Tunnel, Lava Lake, Pit Tunnel, Triclops, Pit Storage Cavern, Motor Tunnel, Motor Station. I didn't go through Motor Station. That's probably what it is. Yes, Motor Station leads to Phendrana. Okay, let's get out of here. Go to Motor Station. Look at that. Look right there. Right there on the map. Or center of the screen. You see how it's so dark? How it fits? Because it looks like just a like pieces of, you know, refined steel or whatever it is, whatever the right thing would be, right? You notice how it looks like it is just a door? It's not overtly bright. If you weren't looking for it, you could miss it. However, it is darker than its surroundings, but it's still easy enough to miss. Yeah. Look at that. Look at how the only thing that identifies it... Ugh, man, my nose itches. Look at how the only thing that identifies it separately is that it is a little darker. But it can be safely reasoned that the reason it looks a little darker is all of the shading around it. It's not painted white. There's just a lot of stuff that they did wrong in the remaster to oversimplify the issue. There's a lot of stuff they did wrong. A lot of stuff they did wrong. And if I can get to Heat Visor tonight, that will be really good for me. I won't. I have 5 minutes. But I might do just as fast a playthrough of this as I can. You know, before I go through 2. I don't wanna have said I'm gonna go through 2 and then skip it. What I'll do is I will set 1 day aside to blaze through Prime 1. I'll set 1 day aside during the week to blaze through Prime 1, just so I can get to the Heat Visor and show that. Because the Heat Visor that I spent a lot of time complaining about, I can show invariably is far more communicative and far more effective at doing what you need it to, and is a desirable tool to use in game rather than a punishment, a blinding punishment. Come on, rather than a blinding punishment and a cruel torture in game, it's actually a very awesome and fun tool to use. And so you don't have to. Oh, there it is. You don't have to suffer through the infrared visor section. You actually enjoy the infrared visor section because it's communicative, it's clear, it's fast. I might actually stay up a little later. I really shouldn't. I might actually stay up a little later and push my way through Fendrana. I got through Boost Ball, and I gotta do that and a bunch of other things. I'm very, very tempted. I'm very tempted to stay up long enough to get through Fendrana, and I will be pooped by the time I get there. But get to get to Heat Visor, and show just how painfully different it is, because it is painfully different. Like, let me jump. Oh my god, holy tank for playing recklessly. Look how fast that was. The fire rate on that bad. I love it. Alright, we're gonna take the hit. No, I can do that. You know what? That one's short enough to jump. I don't need a space jump to get out of there. Alright. We're almost done for the day. We're probably gonna run this like hour 5 minutes, hour 10 minutes, I don't know. No. Hook onto this. I should just manually aim it, but right, because I'm not a bad shot. And I really am not a bad shot. Like, that's to quote the line, I'm not just, bullshitting out of my butthole. I feel like it's probably safe to say 1 swear an hour into an episode. I say safe as if I care about as if I'm monetized, as if I'm desperately searching for money on every episode, like I'd get a dime from a single Nintendo themed video, right? Like, unless I'm filleting that piece, I doubt I'd get a dime from a Nintendo thing. Even if Metroid is one of the series that's closest to my heart, which is why I consider it so seriously, and why I'm, a mean individual when it comes to commenting on it, right? When it comes to judging it, because it needs to be better because it has been better, right? Prime 4 is an egregious insult to the series, and Prime Remastered was just the first little sprinkling of like, hey, what if it was worse? And Prime 4 is like, hey, it's super bad now. How do you like it? It's like, well, no one liked it. Right? Oh, there we go. I mean, there are people who like that. There's never someone who doesn't like something 100%. There's someone out there who likes X-Blades, and someone out there who likes something worse. I don't think there's a game that's worse than X-Blades. But... oh no, I remembered X-Blades. Now I have cursed myself. Someday I'll have to go through that and suffer. God, that is such a bad game. Oh my god. The door directly above has been unlocked. Let's go. Was it the case... I don't remember. Was it... if anybody watches this... I think I will upload this. I think I finally decided I will just upload this. I guess I want to provide the opportunity that I will really have no time, and I don't want to... take that hit. I don't want to think that I won't, and then... Interesting. Am I misremembering, or does Prime Remastered cause a lot of, like, entrance, like, room entrance, like, visualization, like camera dragging? When you go into this room in Prime Remastered, does it show, does it, like, take the camera from you and, like, show a bunch of, the geography of the level or whatever? Am I wrong about that? It's no big deal to go back through Prime Remastered up to this point, because, again, the heat visor is the worst part, and I don't want to worry too much about it. But I don't know, I kind of wonder. Because, like, it's difficult to remember exact moments of a playthrough I spent 1 hour on a day over the course of, you know, a week or so, right? I would love to just be able to, like, super remember everything and have the most incredible memory forever, but I don't got that. I didn't get the good memory DLC. I got the over-aggressive DLC. A new Chozo lore has been downloaded. None know if our temple, the Cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. How can we Chozo hope for it to remain intact when that which it guards rides in the darkness, growing always stronger? The fate of this world rests with the gathering of artifacts we call the Cipher. But even it is not all powerful. It is strong, yes, an enchanted hull made of 12 links. Still, it is finite in its reach, and we who guard it are slowly succumbing. When our vigilance crumbles away into madness, the Cipher will be exposed, and the fate of Talon 4 will be beyond our influence. And that's an interesting and good thing too, right? They left their mortal shell. The meteor hit. Let me get out of the way so I don't get hit. They left their mortal shell. They went out into the universe and experienced all kinds of wondrous and amazing things. The meteor hit the planet. The Chozo frantically brought together a cipher to bind the Phazon meteorite together and hold it. And they did for a long time, right? Who knows how old the civilization was? It was there during the height of the Chozo, right? But over time they would, degrade and go eventually mad. Which is why the Chozo ghosts attack you! They can't tell that you're doing, like, your Samus with Chozo DNA. They can't tell anything about that. They just know they don't want anyone or anything getting the keys. The edits they did in, I think it's the Prime trilogy. The edits they did in the Prime trilogy invariably changed and made Prime 1 worse. And you might be like, well, it's not canon, these logs aren't canon. That is true. However, these logs are more interesting. They're far more interesting. Right? I mean, you may disagree with me, but I would argue, and this is a thing I'd be willing to die on a hill for, or die on the hill of. I would argue that the logs in this game, this version, and I think the 1.1 has these logs too, that they're just more interesting. That it's just a more interesting story for this specific place, right? New Chozo lore entry has been downloaded to your logbook. Chozo script translated. Many Chozo have gone beyond now, and this is a mercy. Those of us who remain suffer in dimensional flux, drifting helplessly across time and space, guided by unseen and inexorable currents. The Chozo who cling to sanity fight the tide, but our minds are weakening. Soon we will all be like the Turned, Chozo who have been utterly corrupted by the great poison. The Turned still hold to their Chozo forms, but their minds are black with fell intentions. Gone is their respect for life. They honor only destruction and seek to disrupt the artifacts holding the great poison at bay. All life taunts them, and they do not rest. Before long, they will be all that remain of the Chozo here. Again, explaining why the Chozo ghosts are there, and it's not a bad thing. Because you don't see the Chozo ghosts until late in game, and then you're like, oh no, the Chozo ghosts. That's not good. That's pretty bad. I've gotta do something about this, right? It's not it's not we saw Samus from the future and she's gonna save our planet. From realignment successful. You know, it's like we don't know if there's like we know that there's a problem and we have to stop it. And you just come in and you solve the problem by utter coincidence. Maybe I haven't read all of the logs, but if I'm correct, there's far less emphasis on like the chosen one. I just yeah. I think, and I'll be honest, I think there's room to take it to take it a step back, right? I think there's room for chosen one plots. I think there are many good ones, right? I think there are plenty of, you know, good chosen one plots, you know. Like, and I'm certainly not against it, right? The Matrix is incredible. The Matrix is incredible. There are many other ones, you know, like Star Wars 4, 5, 6, incredible. There's room for chosen ones, right? 1, 2, 3 were terribly done, but I enjoyed them, and I will, you know, probably have a copy of Star Wars 1 through 6 buried with me in my, you know, coffin when I die. Probably not. I'd probably, if I had to choose something to, you know, bury with me, I'd bury a copy of Secret of Mana. But, this should be, yep, Ridley. But there's room for the Chosen One storyline. It's just that the Chosen One storyline isn't inherently good. The Chosen One storyline has to be made to be good. And I believe with an absolute certainty in my heart that the developers of Prime 4 can't make the Chosen One storyline good. And I don't know where they're going with Prime, but I hope they cut out this Marvel level dialogue, and you know, that's the hackneyed, trite way to call it, but it's so trashy. It's just pathetic. It's bad dialogue. It's not interesting. It's frustrating, and it's tiring. And the guy chimes in every 3 minutes. Come on. Isn't that, you get Space Jump, and then you get Spring Ball, I think that was what it was. I get, what comes after Boost Ball? You can tell I'm already getting really tired, like I've got enough oomph to, I've got enough oomph to play, but I'm running out of steam, I'm running out of mental steam quickly. Fedrona, no. I just got out of Fedrona. I have Boost Ball. Boost Ball leads me to a Missile Pack in Chozo. It also leads me to Which is a ruins. It's furnace. No, can we do more furnace when I get spider ball? Gathering hall. Gathering hall leads to watering hall. Access watering hall leads to a missile. Laboratorium leads to sun chamber. But sun chamber's locked off. Ruined fountain. I didn't go in that. Oh, you know what I just noticed? So remember how I was like, oh my god, I would have, you know, I've been playing this game for years and I never noticed that this doesn't have a compass? Guess what I just realized this game doesn't have? There's no compass. There's no way to know which direction is up. There's north. So, me memorizing where to go based on the positions is actually a smarter move. However, I suppose you could, you know, argue if this is Magmore Caverns North, then you can, you know, but still. Alright, I want to check... Not Main Plaza, I want to check... Ruin Shrine. I need to go through... No, I can't do Ruin Shrine, because I need... Is it... Do I have to go... Get a... Hold on. We got that, we got the boost ball. Boost ball leads to... I can't do any splendor on shorelines. Ruins entry, ice ruins west. I can't do that. You do that ruins entry? No. Plaza walkway, ice ruins east. I have to get to... Wave beam. Shoreline entrance. You walk into the area. There's this room, which I can't get to. I think that leads to wave. So I gotta get to space. Space is Talon. Right? The Talon is here. Landing site. It's the back side of landing site. Right there. You go through there. Let's go through Magmore and see what I can do. Got Magmore. I'm really trying to process like where I need to go. Go through there, but that's just lava and I can't do anything with it. Go up here, go up here. Treasure rooms to work. Tricolops pits. Nothing I can benefit from there. There's nothing I can benefit from drawing. Let's turn around and I think it's in Chozo Ruins. I think the next thing I do is Chozo Ruins. I have to find a safe spot. I'm exhausted. It's already 13 minutes over. I gotta get some sleep. Wait. Happens every time. Guess I can just tank. Wonderful. Oh, this is terrible. I can't find a good control scheme. I'm just gonna have to change the button placement, like the button assignments. That room can't go in, can't benefit from. This room goes into Chozo or Talon. I don't know which. One of the two. You know what's the worst part of like having a sunburn on my head? If I get like flaky skin from the skin healing, I'm not gonna easily be able to tell. No, that's stupid. I was like, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and dandruff. Yes, I would. It would be an obvious difference in the type of thing, right? Like you would have to be dumb to think that it wouldn't be easy to tell the difference in. Or, well, I guess you wouldn't have to be dumb, but it is a dumb thing. All right, come on. Up there, up here. I'm just gonna head for a safe station. I'm tired. I'm gonna save this for another day. Vomit. This way. Oh, I'm an idiot. Hold on. I said I wouldn't, but I'm gonna run it a little longer. As I remembered where to go. I think I remembered where to go. It's the left side of the room. You know why? Because you need Morph Ball to go through it, and I think, because I can't remember clearly right now, I'm very, very tired. Imagine sleeping for 6 hours, then staying awake for 18, and deciding, I can run on 5 tomorrow. It's a really dumb idea. A really dumb idea. I'm wrong. Dang, didn't get him. Yeah, this just leads to... It leads to Frigate. The reason I didn't go here before is because I remembered, oh, it goes to Frigate, don't go to Frigate. You won't be able to do anything in Frigate. You're only able to get to Frigate when you get Ice Beam and you pop out of, you know, the area just above Frigate from going through anything Magmor. Or maybe it's Findrano. Anyways, I'm saving again. And then I'm popping on into bed. I am so tired. Alright. That's all. This was an interim episode. It turned into a full episode because I had enough to say and I felt it strongly enough that I am proud of it. So, without further ado, for the next large period of time, I will be playing this way. This will be the setup, and so you're just gonna have to get used to me being closer to the camera. And I'm gonna have to deal with showing any more of my room. So I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.